Good morning, my lovelies. Welcome on in to our slightly unusual setup for this week. We're doing a lovely little morning stream today. As y'all know, work has been crazy. It's been a little bit difficult to try to get our streams going, so I thought I'd at least squeeze this little one in. A little bit of shared interest too, because I'm very excited to be opening up some Aetherdrift content. I've been very excited. I was almost going to sleep on this set for a little while now, but it's actually had some pretty neat stuff. I went to the pre-release sealed event this last Friday, had a lot of fun there, got some really interesting cards, and now we have some Precons and some booster packs to open up, so let's go ahead and kick on into it. I'm super excited because like I said, I was planning on sleeping on this set. I didn't think there was going to be anything to it that was going to particularly excite me. I've never really been one into like racing and stuff like that, but the cards that are in this set are actually kind of wild. So I'm pretty excited to be able to pop those open and see what we got in there. Hi, Mysterious Hand. Thank you for the lurky lurky. Appreciate you, dear. All right, let's go ahead and get my face out of the way. And let's see if this setup works. I tried something a little bit different today so that we can actually take a look at, hey, look at that. Well, it's here. Are we live though? Oh, I see what happened. All right. There we are. Thank you for the lovely rose petal entrance as always, War. Appreciate you, dear. Welcome on in. All right, so we've got a couple of things for us to open here today. We have the Aetherdrift Precon Living Energy, which I'm excited to open up. I haven't really had a chance to play with a lot of energy sets, so I'm really excited to see what's going to be in here in this set. And, well, also just in general, excited to try with some new mechanics. Plus, I've been hearing some good things about this one. It's got some good cards in it. And we also have the Eternal Might set. So, super excited about that as well. Uh-oh, facepalm. What's the facepalm? What happened? What's going on here? But I'm excited about the Eternal Might set because, first of all, it's my first Esper set. I have not built an Esper deck as of yet, and also on top of that, it'll be my first zombie deck, so I'm really excited about that as well. So, and I've heard a lot of good things about some of the cards that come with this set. I'm very excited about it, so we'll see what happens. Oh, we're on emote only chat. Oh, how did that happen? Well, let's fix that. That is supposed to be off. My bad. Huh. I guess the latest update must have broken my automated. I have things set up so that it automatically turns that off pre-stream, but I guess for some reason it was still going for some reason. So sorry about that. Hello, War. Welcome on in. As we're dropping things everywhere. And then of course, on top of opening up our sets here, we got some lovely little boosters here. I'm very excited to be able to pop some of these open and see what kind of fun cards we've got going on in here. So let's go ahead and kick things off. We don't have a lot of time today because we are going to be having to head off to work right after this stream, but we thought we'd at least get a little mini stream in here. So let's go ahead and kick things off and see what we got here. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Living Energy set. We'll go ahead and pop into Eternal Might afterwards and see what we get in here. Thought you were gonna miss. Glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't too. It's lovely to see you here. It's been too long since the last time we had a stream going. I'm excited that we at least got to squeeze this in today, so I'm pretty happy about that. All right, let's go ahead and pop this open. Rip. Let's see what we got here. Of course, we have our lovely little mini collector booster that's gonna come with it. We'll get to see what's in there. Some documentation. And of course, our lovely little Precon box, which we'll probably be using to temporarily store this set once we get it open. And there it is. Our lovely Living Energy set. Well, first things first, we always got to open up the collector booster sample pack. So You know, that's a thing. Can I post the link? Sure, absolutely. You want to share what's going on here? Please send to people. I'm always down to get more friends in here. All right. Let's see. What do we get in our collector booster? We've got Daretti, Rocketeer Engineer. Oh, it's a goblin. Always down for some more gobos in my life. Daretti's power is equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. Okay. Whenever Daretti enters or attacks, choose target artifact in your graveyard. You may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return the chosen card to the battlefield. Oh my god. Oh, that could be pretty wild pretty quickly. That could be a fun mechanic to play with. Card for our lovely VTubers. Ooh. Oh, that's fun. V-Card. I'll have to take a look at that a little bit later. And also we got here, ooh, a nice little shiny card. We got a Cloudspire Sky Cycle. When this vehicle enters, distribute 2+1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 other vehicles or creatures you control. It's only got a crew 1. That's pretty nifty. All right, so those are some solid starters from our little collector booster here. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my knife. Get this opened up here, and we can take a look at what's included in this set. Yeah, please do. I'll have to check that out a little bit later. Alrighty. So, here we have the Living Energy set. Starting off, of course, with our commander, Saheeli. Human Artificer, it's a 4/4. Whenever you cast an Artificer or artifact spell, you get an energy, which is always helpful. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control, except it's a 5/5 artifact in addition to its other types, and has haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, well, so that's a pretty quick way to be able to just all of a sudden just take over the board and just spread it with all kinds of nasty critters and things. Oh, that's pretty cool. I can also see that working kind of interesting with Daretti. That could be an interesting little combo package right there. And here we have PNLR, Chief Mechanic, Human Artificer. Whenever one or more artifacts you control deal combat damage to a player, you get 2 energy. Always solid. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, create an XX colorless vehicle artifact token named Nalar Aetherjet with flying and crew 2, where X is the amount of energy spent this way. Okay, so gather up a bunch of energy, make something beefy to be able to be a threatening board presence. That's pretty awesome. Territorial Aethercat. I've seen this one, I'm pretty sure, before in previous sets. Classic 6/5 Kitty Dragon, Flying Haste. When it enters, you get some energy. Then you can pay 1 or more energy. When you do, it deals damage to each other creature. That's pretty awesome. And Nissa World Soul Speaker. I've seen this one be used as a commander for some interesting mono green energy deck, that's one of the things that's really interesting thing about this set, is that we're finally bringing back green energy, which is not something that's been very commonplace in a lot of the previous sets. So that's pretty exciting. But Landfall creates some energy when you play lands. Kind of just a nice little double bonus there, because guess what? You have land and now you have energy, which is an unlosable resource. So that's pretty cool. Pima Trailblazer. Trample, whenever this creature deals damage to a player, get that much energy. I'm already seeing ways here where you can get tons of energy real quick. And it's got an exhaust, pay 6 energy, put 2+1/+1 counters on this creature, and draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Now, exhaust is a new mechanic with Aetherdrift that's kind of interesting. It's a one-time use per game, not per turn or per round or anything. It's one-time use per game. You get some sort of special bonus with that particular creature or vehicle that you've cast on the field. So for this one, it's 6 energy, and you get you have to buff up this creature and draw a bunch of cards. That's pretty cool. Rampaging Aetherhood Snake Hydra. Always love me some Hydras. It's got Ward. That's always nice. Beginning of your upkeep, you get an amount of energy equal to this creature's power. Then you can pay 1 or more energy. If you do put that many counters on this creature, dear God, I can see this taking off real quick and becoming real scary. That's pretty awesome. Adaptive Omni Tool. I love the sound of that. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Nice. Who cares about artifact board presence? Whenever equipped creature attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, so a nice little way to be able to sift through the deck really quickly and get the tools you need. That's pretty awesome. I would love those of the skull. Those of the skull? What are you referring to? Aetherflux Conduit. Whenever you cast a spell, you get an amount of energy equal to the amount of mana spent on that spell. Pay 50, draw 7 cards. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. I can see this, especially if you find ways to get that energy engine going to take off real quickly and become quite scary. That's pretty amazing. I love that. Etheric Amplifier. It's a nice little mana rock, it looks like. One of any color, of course. And then you can tap 4, choose 1, activate only as a sorcery, double the number of each kind of counter on each permanent, or double the number of each kind of counter you have. I could see this as being a way to be able to you can either use it to increase the number of -1/-1 counters on a creature, so that can be pretty scary, or buff the number of -1/-1 counters you have across your board. That could be either way pretty dang useful. Stride Hanger Automaton. Thopters you control get +1/+1. Okay, nice little way to make those Thopters a little more scary. If you control 1 or more artifact tokens would be created under your control. Those tokens plus an additional 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying are created instead. Okay, so nice little way for you to be able to, again, get some nice wide board presence, get a bunch of Thopters out, and buff them up. That's pretty cool. Chain Reaction, classic. A nice little updated artwork on this one. I have this actually in my Demons deck. It's a pretty nice card. It cares about the number of creatures on the board. It deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. So a nice little board wipe. If you got a nice scary board presence, you can go, nah, let's start over on that. Chaos Warp, classic. A nice little way to shuffle cards into the library and see what happens. It's nice because it's a nice little removal spell that has a little bit of a chaos element to it, like in the name, but it's nice and random because it shuffles the card back into the deck, and then possibly, who knows, maybe they'll draw it, maybe they'll draw something else, but it's a fun card. I love this card so much. Druid of Purification. When this creature enters, starting with you, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control. Destroy each permanent chosen this way. Nice. So a nice little choice is yours moment where you can give other people the power to choose their fate. What's going to go away? My stuff is safe, but guess what? Everyone else is going to lose something and y'all get to choose. Fighting amongst the board. I love it. Chromatic Lantern, classic. A nice little color correction mana rock. I love this card so much. I'm glad to finally have one in my collection. Duplicant. It's a shapeshifter with imprint. When this creature enters, you may exile target non-token creature. As long as a card exiled with this creature is a creature card, this creature has the power, toughness, and creature types of the last creature card exiled with it, except it's still a shapeshifter. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little way to be able to double up on some of your more threatening board presence creatures. Plus, also, if you have a flicker effect of any sort, that'd be a way for you to be able to switch things up and bring it back as a different creature if the circumstances change. That's pretty cool. Academy Ruins, classic. Love this card. Lovely for all sorts of artifact decks. Legendary land. Put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. Solid. Gotta love it. Aether Squall Ancient. It's a Leviathan. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get 3 energy. Oh my god. Every turn, just 3 energy just for existing. That's pretty cool. Pay 8. Return all other creatures to their owner's hands. Oh, nice little board bounce. Gotta love it. Aethertide Whale. I'm sensing a theme here. Flying. When this creature enters, you get 6 energy. Pay 5, energy. Return this creature to its owner's hand. Nice. So a nice little bit of recursion there. Confiscation Coup. Choose target artifact or creature. You get 4 energy. 4 energy counters. Then you may pay an amount of energy equal to that permanent's mana value. If you do, gain control of it. Yoink. Nice little yoink card. Disallow. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Okay, so it's a counter spell not just for spells, but you can use it for abilities or activated abilities or triggered abilities too. So that's pretty cool. You don't see a lot of those, so that's pretty neat. Midnight Clock, classic. This is just a fun card. It's a win con. It's something that doesn't necessarily serve a huge amount of purpose. I mean, it is a mana rock for blue mana, but tap 3, put an hour counter on this artifact, and at the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on this artifact. At the 12th hour, Counter is put on this artifact, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library and draw 7 cards, exile this artifact, so it's just a fun little card. 1 with the machine. Draw cards equal to the highest mana value among artifacts you control. There's a lot of high value artifacts in this deck, so that's pretty cool. Sai, Master Thopterist. Whenever you cast an artifact, create a Thopter. Nice, good, and it has some card draw mechanics on there too. That's cool. Thopter Spy Network. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature flying with token. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. So more card draw. Be back in a bit. Need to clean some stuff up. Sounds good, War. Blast Act, solid board wipe. Combustible Gear Hulk, another fun damaging card. Construct, when it enters, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards, and if it doesn't, you mill 3 cards and deal damage to them. So pretty nasty. Lightning Runner, double strike and haste. Whenever this creature attacks, you get 2 energy, and then you may pay 8. If you pay, untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, it's additional combat. Yikes. That can get pretty scary pretty quickly. Pia, Inkir, and Nalar, human artificer. When it enters, you get some Thopters. Sacrifice an artifact, it deals 2 damage to any target, so nice damage creation. Aetherwind Basilisk. Trample. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you get an energy for each creature you control. Good God. So if you have a board full of Thopters, this thing can get out of control really quickly. Architect of the Untamed, landfall, you get energy, always nice, and you can use 8 energy to create a colorless beast artifact. That's cool. Bootlegger's Stash, this is solid. It's you use your lands to create treasures. I have this in one of my aristocrat decks. It's solid, it's amazing, gotta love it. Elder Gargaroth, Vigilance, Reach, Trample. Whenever this creature attacks or blocks, choose 1, create a beast, gain 3 life, or draw a card. Solid. Aetherworks Marvel. Whenever a permanent you control is put into a graveyard, you get an energy, pay 6 energy, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can cast a spell from among them without paying its cost, but the rest on the bottom. Nice. Conjurer's Closet. Solid. At the beginning of your end step, exile target creature you control and return to the battlefield, so it's a nice guaranteed flicker effect. I saw some cards earlier in this pile that would go really nicely with that. Cultivator's Caravan. Nice little mana rock. It's a vehicle, add 1 mana of any color, but it's also a 5/5 vehicle with crew 3, so that's pretty cool. Panharmonicon, another way to help with those triggered effects. If an artifact or creature entering causes a triggered effect of a permanent you control to trigger, it triggers an additional time, so nice little trigger doubler. Always solid. Retrofitter Foundry, tap 3, untap this artifact, tap 2, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact, sacrifice a servo to create a Thopter, sacrifice a Thopter to create a construct. Okay, so you create little creatures that make bigger creatures that make bigger creatures. It's a nice little Russian stacking doll effect sort of a thing. That's pretty cool. Solemn Simulacrum, gotta love the sad robot. Triplicate Titan. Flying Vigilance Trample. When this creature dies, create a 3/3 Golem with flying, a 3/3 Golem with Vigilance. So it splits off into 3 different creatures when it dies. So that's a pretty cool little thing to white out on the board. Exotic Orchard Classic. Then, of course, you got your dual lands and all that good stuff. Spire of Industry Classic, Temple of Epiphany Classic, Treasure Vault, sacrifice this land, create a bunch of treasures. That's always pretty cool. Your Snarls, your Coasts. Okay, always some good dual lands and all that. Reality Shift, exile target creature that's controller manifests the top card of their library. Cool stuff. Arcane Signet Classic, Lightning Greaves Classic, Soul Ring Classic, Command Tower, Bespoke Battle Wagon. Tap 2, you get 2 energy. Pay 2, tap target creature. Pay 3, draw a card. Pay 4, this vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. So a nice little way to be able to turn it into a creature without having to actually crew it. Some counters. Era of Innovation. Whenever an artifact or artificer you control enters, you may pay 1. If you do, you get 2 energy. Pay 6, sacrifice this enchantment, draw 3 cards. Nice little card draw engine there. Scry 2, draw 2 cards, you get 2 energy. Whirler Rogue, when it enters, you get a Thopter. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Target creature can't be blocked this turn, so a nice little way to guarantee player damage. Loyal Apprentice, beginning of combat in your turn, if you control your commander, you get a Thopter. That's nice. Reckless Fireweaver, whenever an artifact you control enters, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Nice, a little wide damage thing. Attune with Aether, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You get some energy, so a nice little ramp card that also includes being able to get some energy. Explosive Vegetation, you get more ramp. Pima Aetherseer. Once a creature enters, you get an amount of energy equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Pay 3, target creature blocks this turn if able, so a nice little guarantee blocker. When this creature enters, you get 2, pay 1 energy, get 1 mana of any color. Okay, so using energy for a mana color correction, that's pretty cool. Rogue Refiner, when this creature enters, draw a card and get 2 energy. Sahili, Sublime Artificer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, a 1/1 colorless servo token, create. Target artifact you control becomes a copy of another artifact you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to other types. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Whirler Virtuoso. When this creature enters, you get 3 energy. You can pay 3 energy to make a Thopter. All right, Command Sphere, solid. Decoction module. When a creature you control enters, get energy. Return target creature to controller you control to its owner's hand. So a nice little way to save your creatures from board wipes and stuff like that. Solar Transformer enters tapped. When it enters, you get 3 energy. Tap 1 for a colorless. Pay a color for a mana of any color. Okay, so it's a nice solid mana rock that you can convert, again, energy into mana. Ornithopter of Paradise. Okay, this is actually really cool because this is essentially a changeover from the Bird of Paradise, which has been a solid mana dork for ever, except that this now being colorless can be used for anything, and it's also nice because it taps for a mana of any color. So it's a flyer. So you have it available as a blocker. It's only 2 mana, so it's a solid cost for doing some mana ramping, and it's a mana of any color, so that's just fun. I love this. This is a fun new addition. Soul Guide Lantern, perfect graveyard hate. Talismans are always good. Aether Hub. When this land enters, you get an energy. You can pay an energy for a mana of any color. Okay, so do that through a land. That's cool. Evolving Wilds, solid. All the traditional additional lands, and looks like here we're getting down to the remainder of the lands. So there's all the lands, and here we got our tokens, energy, of course, Thopter, Golem, all the fun tokens to go on with it. All right, so this seems like a really fun deck. I have never really been, I mean, don't get me wrong, energy's always been an exciting mechanic, but I've never been like overly excited about it, but this seems like a really fun deck to play. I'm super excited for it. This is going to be a fun one. All right, let's go ahead and knock this guy out of the way, and let's go ahead and move on to our zombie deck. I'm super excited about that one. I've been hearing a lot of good things about this deck, and it's also supposedly got some really solid cards in it. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what's available in our zombie deck. Eternal Might. Rip, rip, rip. Welcome on back, War. Alrighty. There's our collector booster. There's our deck box. I'm also trying to be mindful of time here, so we're going to try to see if we can breeze through this as best we can. All right. There it is. Temet. Noctamun's Will. Very excited for this deck. All right. First things first, we got to take a look and see what's in our collector booster. Let's see what we got here. Oh, come on. There we go. Alrighty. Let's see what we got here. We've got Pyrewood Gearhulk. Okay, it's a Gruul card. Artifact Construct, 7/7 for... Okay, so a 7/7 for 6 mana is already pretty insane. But let's see what else we got here. A Vigilance Menace. When this creature enters, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Menace until end of turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Okay. That seems pretty nasty. I can definitely think of some decks that this card could go really nasty in. And what else we got here? Earth Rumbler. Ah, I got one of these cards in my pre-release sealed booster packs that I ended up opening, but this has some really cool art on it, and of course it's a foil, which is really cool. But Earth Rumbler, it's 5 mana for a 7/6 vehicle, which again, already insane, but it has Vigilance and Trample, and you can exile an artifact or creature from your graveyard. This creature becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. So it has Crew 3, which is pretty nice, but also on top of that, it you can just exile a card from your graveyard to be able to turn it into a creature without having to crew it. So that's pretty nutty. Damage to you or damage to the opponent. It just says damage can't be prevented. So that does mean all damage on both sides. So damage to you and damage to your opponent cannot be prevented. But even so, this is amazing because it would take away things like damage, all sorts of damage prevention and things that people can try to do to try to counter your attack and stuff like that. Like this is a wild card. I think it's pretty neat. And for only 6 mana, that's just nutty. All right. Let's pop this guy open. We are running short on time, so let's try and see if we can get through this real quick so that we can get to our boosters as well. Alright. Plastic being plastic. Also, can we get some love for this lovely Alistair playmat that the Mysterious Hand from the Ether got me for Christmas? I love this mat so much. If you play it right, you could have 5 cards on the field, and that, and bam, game 1. Yeah, it can get pretty dangerous pretty quickly. Like, I can see how that could go pretty nuts. Also, especially, like, I could see that going really nutty in my Wolverine deck, which would be pretty, a pretty good way to be able to make things pretty scary pretty quick. But here it is, Temet, Noctimon's Will. 4/4, Vigilance, Menace. Whenever you attack, draw a card and then discard a card. When you draw a card, zombies you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So I can see this deck having a lot of card draw mechanic in here to be able to make this escalate real quick and get real scary. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hashaton, Scarab's Fist. When you discard a creature card, you may pay 3. If you do, create a tapped token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 zombie. Now, typically, most of the other decks that I've seen in the past, zombies are usually just 2/2s. So the fact that for 3 mana, you get a 4/4, and it's a copy of whatever it was that you just discarded, like, that can get insane really quick. And I love that mat. Right? I love this mat too. This is I got 2 mats for Christmas, and the other one is has an image of Moxie and Millie from Hell of a Boss in here, and both of them are just absolutely gorgeous mats. I love them so much. On Wings of Gold, creatures you control that are zombies and or tokens get +1/+1 and have flying. They fly now. They fly now. And whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 white zombie creature token. All right, so we're getting zombies of all sorts of various shapes and sizes, so that's kind of cool. But flying zombies, that's horrifying. Priest of the Crossing. It's a 3/3 with flying. At the beginning of each end step, you put X1/1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of creatures that died under your control this turn. Okay. That's, I can see that getting pretty nutty pretty quick. Renewed Solidarity. As this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. Zombies, obviously. Creatures you control get +1/+0. At the beginning of each end step, for each token you control of the chosen type that entered this turn, create a token that's a copy of it? Oh my god, that's a way to get that board to go real wide, real fast. That's kind of scary. So you find a card that gives others the flying attribute. Wizened Mentor. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of a permanent that isn't a mana ability, you create a zombie. This ability only triggers once each turn. Okay, but still, that's pretty cool. It's a nice little way to, again, guaranteed your board gets wider for people doing things. Oh, you want to do things? Guess what? I get a zombie now. Prophet of the Scarab. Vigilance. Whenever this creature enters, draw cards equal to the number of zombies you control or the number of zombie cards in your graveyard, whichever is greater. Okay, so that offers some nice flexibility, because whether you have a board full of zombies, get a bunch of card draw, or if you have a bunch of zombies that just died from a board wipe, get a bunch of card draw, because either way, you're drawing cards. That's pretty cool. Ret2 Mystic. Zombie Bird Wizard, flying. Each creature card in your hand has cycling. Okay, so nice little way to cycle through your hand if you got a nutty hand. Okay, this card right here, Accursed Duneyard. This is an insanely good land card. It's just a regular land, tap 1 for colors, but tap 2, regenerate target shade, skeleton, specter, spirit, vampire, wraith, or zombie. That's nuts. And it's on a land card. That is such a cool thing to have here. Lost Monarch of Ifnir. Afflict 3. Whenever this creature becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. Oh, you're gonna block me? Haha, you lose life anyway. Other zombies you control have Afflict 3. Oh, so all the zombies are gonna damage you even if you block. Tough luck. At the beginning of your second main phase, if a player was dealt damage by a zombie this turn, mill 3 cards and then return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh man, this is just a nutty card. I am so here for it. I love it. Commence the Endgame. This spell can't be countered. Draw 2, then amass zombies X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So you get a big old beefy zombie based on the size of your hand. That's oof. That can get nutty real quick too. Crypt Breaker. It's only 1 mana, so it's pretty cheap. Tap 2, discard a card, create a 2/2 zombie. If you tap 3 untapped zombies you control, you draw a card and lose a life. Okay, so a nice solid card draw engine and way to make your board go wide. Grave Titan. 6/6 with Death Touch. Whenever this creature attacks or enters, create a 2/2 black zombie creatures. It's a 6/6 with Death Touch for 6 mana that makes 2 zombies when it arrives and every time it attacks. That's nuts. Gravecrawler, classic need in every zombie deck. It can't block, but guess what? It's only 1 mana, and when it dies, you can cast it from your graveyard again as long as you have a zombie. Solid. Midnight Reaper. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, this creature deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. Lots of card draw engine in here. I'm loving it, and especially in synchronizing with the commander, that's great. Murderous Rider. It has some options here. You can do Swift and an instant to destroy a target creature or planeswalker. You lose 2 life. Classic black destruction mechanic. Or you can make a 2/3 with lifelink. When this creature dies, put it on the bottom of the owner's library. Okay, it's the zombie that never dies. Or at least never completely goes away. Zombie Master. Other zombie creatures have Swamp Walk. Unblockable zombies. Terrifying. Other zombies have tap 1, regenerate this permanent. This makes all your zombies very scary. Unblockable if they are facing against anyone who has a swamp, and tap 1 to regenerate all your zombies. That's nutty. Angel of Sanctions. When this creature enters, you may exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. Okay, Angel come in, your permanent go bye-bye. Embalm 6, exile this card from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a white zombie angel with no mana cost. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It dies, you can just exile it from your graveyard and make it come back again. That's neat. Dusk and Dawn. So Dusk, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, or Dawn, which is Aftermath, return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, nice little bit of recursion there. God Eternal Oketra. 3/6 double strike. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 4/4 zombie warrior with vigilance. Nice. And when it dies or is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may put it on top of the owner's library, 3rd from the top. It is an eternal. You cannot get rid of it. It will come back. Timeless Dragon. It's a 5/5 with flying with plane cycling, so you can cycle it to look for a planes, or you can exile this card from your graveyard and make a 4/4 black zombie dragon with no mana cost in it. And guess what? Your dragon's now a zombie. That's awesome. Champion of Wits. When it enters, you can draw a card equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards. Eternalize. Exile it from the graveyard. Make a zombie. I'm seeing that mechanic a lot here. At 3/3, beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand. If you do draw that many cards, more card draw. Pull for tomorrow, card draw. Vizier of Many Faces. When you have this creature enter, it's a copy of any creature from the battlefield, except it's a creature. This creature was embalmed. The token has no mana cost. It's white. It's a zombie in addition to its other types. Nice. Archfiend of Ifnir. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponent controls. Nice little board wipe mechanic. Cemetery Reaper. Other zombies get +1/+1. Solid. Exile a card from a graveyard, so you can start burning through your opponent's graveyards. And guess what? Now you got more zombies. That's pretty cool. Gotta love that. Crowded Crypt, it's a mana rock. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a corpse counter on it. Then you can tap 6 and sacrifice this artifact. For each corpse counter on it, you get a 2/2 black zombie with Decayed. So over the course of the game, you get this early on, you get a bunch of zombies later. Damn, destroy target creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Or you can overload it. If you cast it for the overload cost, you change target to each. So destroy each creature. Nice little, relatively inexpensive board wipe. Dread Summons. Each player mills X cards. For each creature card put into a graveyard this way, you make a zombie. Dreadhorn Invasion. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and amass zombies 1, so you get a 1/1 zombie. And whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gains lifelink until end of turn. Liliana, Death's Majesty. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, mill 2 cards. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other types. Nice recursion. And that's -7, destroy all non-zombie creatures. Solid board wipe, dangerous planeswalker. Never destroy target creature or planeswalker, or return. Aftermath. Exile target card from a graveyard, create a 2/2 zombie. Rot Hulk. Oh, Plague Belcher. I totally skipped over this one. Plague Belcher, love this one. Whenever this creature enters, put 2 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. Whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 2 life. Oh, you're gonna kill my stuff. Guess what? You hurt for it. Rot Hulk. When this creature enters, return up to X zombie cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of opponents you have. So instantly this thing comes in. If you're playing a game of Commander, you're against 3 opponents. Guess what? 3 creatures right from your graveyard to the battlefield. Scarab God. This is a classic. I love this card so much. It's a legendary god. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. Get a bunch of zombies on the board. They lose a bunch of life. And You get to scry for cards, and you can also tap 4, exile target creature from a graveyard to create a zombie copy of it. That's a 4/4 black zombie. And when it dies, it goes right back to its owner's head at the beginning of the next end step. This is a scary card, and I love it so much. God Pharaoh's Gift. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, make a zombie. Maskwood Nexus, solid. All your cards are zombies, in addition to everything else. And of course, your typical dual lands, Verge lands. These are awesome. Let's see. Yep, dual lands, all the solid stuff. These are all solid. Temple of Silence, Unholy Grotto. You can tap 1 for colors, or tap 1, put target zombie from your graveyard back to your top of your library. Solid. Swords to Plowshares, solid removal. Corpse Augur, when it dies, draw a bunch of cards. Corpse Knight, whenever another creature you control enters, each opponent loses life. Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Command Tower, Path of Ancestry. Binding Mummy, whenever another zombie you control enters, you can tap target artifact or creature. Solid. Cast out. When this enchantment enters, exile target permanent. Eternal Skylord. Amass zombies. Zombies have flying. More flying zombies. That's terrifying. Fleshbag Marauder, always solid. When this creature enters, each player sacrifices a creature of their choice. Gem Palm Polluter, you can cycle it. When you cycle it, you may have target player lose life equal to the number of zombies on the battlefield, so that could potentially be a solid endgame mechanic right there. Lord of the Accursed, another way to boost up your zombies and give your zombies menace until end of turn. Twisted Abomination, I love this card. I have it. It's expensive, but it's a 5/3 with tap 1 generate and swap cycling. Solid. Undead Augur, whenever this creature or another zombie you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life. Despark, solid removal. Gleaming Overseer, when this creature enters, amass zombies. Zombie tokens you control have hexproof and menace. That's terrifying. Lysotop Chancellor, whenever you discard a card, you can pay 1, and if you do, amass zombies. Wayward Servant, whenever another zombie you control enters, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Bontu's Monument, always solid. Cost reduction, black creature spells cost 1 less to cast, and whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Commander Sphere, solid. Always the solid mana rocks. Gate to the Afterlife. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain a life. Then you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Sacrifice this artifact, search your graveyard, hand, or library for a card named God Pharaoh's Gift, and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. Okay, so that's pretty solid. You can do it if there's 6 or more creatures in your graveyard. Orzhov Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Hierarchy, solid mana rocks, and such like that. There's some deserts in here. Evolving Wilds, all the typical dual lands, Terramorphic, and we're down to the remainder of the lands. All right, so this is my first zombie deck. I'm so excited for some of the fun mechanics they've got incorporated into this. This seems like it's going to be an absolutely nasty deck to play against. I cannot wait to give this a try. I'm so excited. Which, to that note, folks, if you aren't already aware, there have been some updates to the Discord channel. If you are interested in getting in on some Magic the Gathering games, be sure to check out the updated roles section on the Discord. There is a section for you to be able to say, hey, you want to be one of the card sharks? You want to play some Magic the Gathering? You can absolutely get in on there, and we do have games every now and then. I haven't gotten too far into the realm of trying to get regular games scheduled, but if something you're interested in, please check it out. You might be able to get into some games, and we can have some fun. All right, we have a little bit of time left. Let's go ahead and get into these booster packs. I'm super excited about them. We've seen some fun stuff in these precons. It's been super exciting. Let's see what else we can add to our collection before we call things to a close for today. So booster pack number 1, another Start Your Engines card. I've been getting so many of these tokens. This is a fun new mechanic. It's pretty much it doesn't really do much. It's kind of all the way in the background that just sort of happens. But essentially, if you have any sort of a card that has a Start Your Engines text in the Oracle text, you'll start your speed at 1. And then each time you deal damage to a player on your turn for the first time, you go up 1 speed. And then it goes all the way up to a maximum speed of 4. There are some cards that care about having max speed. So basically, it's a unique mechanic to Aetherdrift, but once you do get your speed up to 4, there's some cards that care about having max speed and gives you some nice little bonus effects that are pretty cool. All right, let's see what else we got in here. We've got a Grim Javelier. When you attack, target creature gets ++0. Okay, Hazard of the Dunes, a solid worm. I had this in my build that I did for my deck. Another Artificer, Swiftwing Assailant. Kickoff Celebrations. This has the Start Your Engine mechanic in here. That's pretty cool. You have a black and red deck. Solid. I love Rakdos. I have a couple of Rakdos decks that I'm really fond of. One of them being my Demons deck. And then, of course, I have the Eternal Punishment or Endless Punishment Precon from the Duskmourn set, which I have modified, which has Valgavoth as the commander. I love that deck so much. Night Market, nice little, see, it comes in tapped, but you can choose a color. It does 1 mana of the chosen color. That's cool. In-Faced Ace, that's solid. Sabotage Strategist, it's a nice little 2/2 flyer. Wretched Doll, this seems like a fun one. I have a friend who made a toy deck that seemed really cool. This seems like a one that would be really fun to put into a toy deck if it had access to black. Guidelight Synergist, you get +1/+0 for each artifact you control. That can get pretty scary pretty quickly. Muruganda Raceway. This is, I have a couple of these now, but this is again the example of something that cares about having max speed. Start your engines. It does start your engines when it comes in. It taps for 1 colorless, but if you have max speed, which you could potentially do in a course of 4 turns, it all of a sudden will now tap for 2 mana. That's pretty cool. Ooh, Mimoplasm, the revered one. This is an ooze commander. I have a friend who built a deck around this I'm so excited about, but actually this is really cool. It's a black, green, blue commander. As it enters, exile up to X creature cards from your graveyard. It enters with 3 1/1 counters on it for each creature exiled this way, and you can tap 2 for it to become a copy of target creature, except it's a 0/0. It has this ability. Oh my god. Well, I guess now I get to be a copycat, and I'm gonna have to build myself an ooze deck, because this is too fun not to build around. And Floor the Engine, a nice Flood the Engine, always a solid removal mechanic. Tranquil Cove. Oh, this is always solid. When it enters, you gain a life. All right. Well, we're already off to a good start here. That was a solid pack to open. I'm super excited about that one. I get to build an ooze deck now. Oh, that's so exciting. I've been wanting to build an ooze deck for a little while now. All right, we've got a pilot token, solid. So now we have a way to be able to represent that, and a vehicle token, solid. Oh, actually, I think this actually goes with the Chandra Planeswalker, which I did get in my packs, so that's pretty cool. Let's see. I just like what they did to the cards now. How so? Gastel Blockbuster. When this creature enters, you can sacrifice a creature or vehicle. When you do, destroy a target artifact an opponent controls. Okay. Maximum Overdrive. Get a 1/1 counter on a target creature. It gets Death Touch and Indestructible at end of turn. Solid. Stampeding Scurryfoot. Everyone's favorite little mouse. It's a mouse that makes an elephant. I had this in my pre-release deck, and that was really cool. Howler's Heavy. A Seal Pirate. You can do -2/-0 on an enemy creature. Brightfield Mustang. When it attacks while saddled, untap it and get a 1/1 counter on it. That can get pretty big and scary pretty quickly. What else we got here? Skybox Ferry. Solid 4/4 flying vehicle. A Veloheart Bike. When this vehicle enters, you gain 2 life. Okay, it's a mana dork. 1 mana of any color that's also a vehicle. That's pretty cool. Tarian World Tyrant. Okay. Oh my god. That is a 5 mana 9/7 dinosaur ooze. Well, I know that's going into the ooze deck, but that's pretty cool. Love the art on that too. That's really neat. Tune up, return target artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's a vehicle, it becomes an artifact creature. That's cool. Tyrant. Okay, so it's a 4/1 dinosaur warrior for 2 mana. That's pretty neat. Daretti, Rocketeer Engineer. Power equals the greatest mana value among... Oh, this is the same as that other... No, it's not. Is this the same one as that other card that we got from the... It is. It's the same one, just without the same... without the fancy art on it. So that's still pretty cool. So now we got 2 copies of it. Love it. Ooh, what's this? Zahur, Gory's Path. Oh, okay. I actually got this card already in my pre-release... sealed event, and that was pretty cool. It's a solid zombie cat warrior. Start your engines, sacrifice a creature to surveil, and max speed, you get a zombie whenever a creature you control dies. Pothole Mole. Okay, when it enters, mill 3 cards and return a land from your graveyard to your hand. Solid. All right, that was another fun pack. They made it so the mechanics of the cards did, such as red, focus on damage, blue, healed, I forget, green and white, black, still health, and now they made it so the colors don't matter anymore, so you can't even focus on the type of deck you want to build. That's not entirely true. There are some, they did end up diversifying some of the mechanics of the various colors to a degree, so I do hear what you're saying on that, and yes, they have kind of muddled, to a certain extent, how some of the various colors function, so that it's not quite necessarily as explicitly clear for each one, but that being said, it still does relatively stay, generally speaking, within the focus of each particular color, but with the additions that they have made, it does make for some fun new mechanics that you can kind of play with. and each color combination does still synergize very differently. So while there has been some lines that have been blurred as far as the differences between the different sets, I do still feel like each individual set does still feel unique in its own way and offer its own unique mechanics. I've had a lot of fun playing with the different colors, and I will say that each deck that I've built with different colors has felt very differently. I got a black and red command deck, and now I want nothing to do with Magic because the focus I wanted to play with, for years doesn't exist anymore. How so? What was the focus that you were trying to work on? Ooh, the Chandra Spark Hunter token. I have the Planeswalker to go with that, so that's pretty cool. Gilded Goda, when it attacks while saddled, you get a treasure. Nice. Let's see, a 3/3 Flying Haste Vampire, solid. Beast Rider Vanguard. Nimble Thopterus, another one of those. More kickoff celebrations, another one of these. Avishkar Raceway. If it has max speed, you tap 3 and discard a card to draw a card. That's cool. Fuel the Flames, deals 2 damage to each creature. Laugerin, Soul of Alakria. Alakria. I can't say words apparently. 2 mana for a 1/1 flying. It's a beast mount. Whenever it attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target mounts or vehicles. That's pretty neat. Memory Guardian, solid little robot guy. Skybox Fairy, I like the art on this one. That's pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. Gas Guzzler. It's a 1 mana, 2/1 vampire rogue with Start Your Engines. It comes in tapped and max speed. Tap 1, sacrifice another creature or vehicle to draw a card. Okay, that's pretty neat. Ooze Patrol, when it enters, mill 2 cards and put a 1/1 counter on this creature for each artifact and or creature in your graveyard. All right, so some fun little cards in that one. Oh, hello. Hello, Bloody Lotus TV. Welcome on in, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh my god, I was not expecting that to happen just now, but guess what, folks? We got ourselves a raid. Welcome on in, my friends. We just finished popping open the Aetherdrift Precon packs, and we're now opening up a couple of boosters before we call things to a close for today. Welcome on in. I hope y'all are doing well. What were y'all up to today? Hope the stream went well. I hope y'all had a solid day streaming. What were we doing today? And for those of you who are new here, I know there's probably some new folks here. Welcome on in. My name is Eddie. I'm your humble discount bard today. I'm a variety content streamer. I do all kinds of various things ranging from indie games to horror games to tabletop RPGs to today we're doing some Magic the Gathering. Words are hard. But welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad you're able to stop on by. And Bloody, if you need to go ahead and take care of yourself and do all your post-stream stuff, I totally understand. You've just did an amazing job creating some awesome content. So if you need to take care of yourself and do your post-stream stuff, please by all means do so. But folks, if you want to stick around and hang out with us while we open the last of our booster packs before we wrap things up for today, please come hang out with us and let's see what we get. Hey, thank you so much for that follow, Bloody Lotus. Appreciate you, my friend. Welcome on into the adventures. All right, final booster pack for the day, y'all. Let's see what we got here. Got an art card. Ooh. Oh, I love the artwork on this. That's very pretty. It's a pretty art card. All right, let's see what we got here. Starting column, it has to start your engines. Add 1 mana of any color. A solid mana rock. Then you can tap at max speed, sap and sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards, and discard a card. Okay, that's pretty solid. Have fun, guys. We'll go on doing some stuff. Sounds good, my friend. Well, thank you so much for popping on by. Thank you for that raid. Thank you for that follow. And take care of yourself. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. All right, we got a Streaking Oil Gorger. Nice little vampire with a Start Your Engines. A Beast Rider Vanguard. Solid. Gear Seeker Serpent with affinity for artifacts. So cheaper for the artifacts. This creature can't be blocked until end of turn. That's solid. That's awesome. Lotus Guard Disciple. A Bird Cleric. Walking Sarcophagus. Another Zombie Cat. Max speed, it gets +1/+2, solid, so it goes from a 2/1 to a 3/3. Burning Rocketeer. Flash, when this vehicle enters, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn, always nice. Roadside Blowout, the spell costs 2 less if it targets a permanent with mana value of 1. Return target creature or vehicle that opponent controls to its owner's hand and draw a card. Always good to have some solid card draw. Sheffian Archfiend, a nice demon, 5/5. When it enters, all other creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. That's kind of scary. An Autarch Mammoth, when it enters and whenever it attacks while saddled, create an elephant. Oh man, you're about to create an elephant stampede with this card. That's pretty cool. Canyon Vaulter, it's a core pilot. Whenever this creature saddles a mount or crews a vehicle during your main phase, that mount or vehicle gains flying. Okay, that's pretty neat. Summit Driving Force! Oh my god, that's exciting. I've been very curious about this card. It's a 4/5. First strike, vigilance, and haste. It does have start your engines. Other creatures you control get +X/+O, where X is your speed, so you can get up to +4/+O. And non-creature spells you cast cost X less to cast, so you can potentially make your non-creature spells cost 4 less to cast. That's pretty cool. That's a fun mechanic. Oh, I love that so much. Yes! Yes! Oh my god, yes! We got the Frog God! We got the Frog God! Sabsuddin, Luxa embodied. Reach, trample, indestructible. Sabsuddin can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. At the beginning of the first main phase, put a 1/1 counter on Sabsuddin. Then, if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. Oh my god. I'm so building a deck around the Frog God. We gotta. Oh my god, I'm so freaking excited. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, these booster packs were so worth it. We got oh my god. We got so many fun pulls from those. I'm so freaking excited. Oh, that's amazing. Oh my god, I am at a loss for words right now. That was so good. Let's see what we got here. Steal health from your opponent, black, and spells that cause damage both to cards and players red. Okay, so I will say that mechanic is still available in black and red. In fact, actually, that's very much how my how both of my Rakdos decks function. I have my Demons and Devils deck, which for that one, it works exactly like that. It has a lot of ways to deal damage to opponents, and in doing so, end up getting some lifesteal from that as well. So it's a deal damage while you get life gain. So that's pretty much how that deck functions. Then, of course, I have my Valgavoth deck, which is my Commander Precon, and for that one, that's pretty much a nice little group slug deck where it pretty much just cares about hurt the opponent, I get benefits for it. So, oh, you hurt? Well, guess what? Now I draw cards. Oh, you hurt? Now I draw cards. So it's, yeah, that mechanic does still exist, and it's a very, very powerful mechanic to use in Rakdos. It's actually one of the reasons why I love Rakdos so much. It's typically my preferred color combination, though I do enjoy playing with the other colors as well. But to that note, folks, that's our stream for today. We do need to get going because, unfortunately, I need to be a responsible adult, and that means that, unfortunately, I have to go to work today. Boo. But I'm glad y'all were able to stop on by and hang out for us for a little bit of a daytime stream, slightly different content than usual, so I'm excited about that. But, you know, I've been kind of curious about delving ourselves into some Magic the Gathering content in the future. I may end up doing some streams eventually in the future, having some guests on here. Maybe we'll play some games. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. But nevertheless, I am excited to have some new cards to play with. I'm excited that we are playing with all kinds of new stuff here. But of course, we're going to be back to a regularly scheduled programming next week. We will have a stream scheduled for Wednesday evening in our usual time slot, so please keep your eyes out for that. Y'all know the deal. We have all the places to check out. We have Discord if you want to come hang out with us and also talk about all the various things, also where we handle, where we do games together, where we hang out to play Magic, where we hang out to play video games, all kinds of fun stuff. There's various roles you can check out for the kinds of content that you are interested in, and you can come hang out with us and do some fun stuff there. Also follow me on all the socials, where I keep you all up to date on my various happenings, what's goings. I know I haven't been as up to speed on that lately because of how, you know, adulting life has been, but nevertheless, we're here and we're trying to get back to the swing of things. So that's exciting. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's see who we can send some love to keep the Twitch love going for today. Who's on at the moment? You know what? We haven't sent some love to Wingding in a while, so why don't we send some love on over their way? They're playing some Minecraft at the moment, so send some love on over to the one, the only Wingding. send some love on over their way, and tell them about the fun stuff you saw over here. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. I know you have many choices in entertainment. It always humbles me from the bottom of my heart that you let me be your discount bard. Much love to y'all, and we'll see you all next time.